Welcome, welcome one and all to the Weekly Rant. This is our first episode of the Weekly Rant, and we are going to talk about the topic of cancel culture. If it is one thing that has been happening a lot this past year and a half, it's cancel culture. The most recent case of cancel culture happens to be on the front lines is this lovely lady right here, Mrs. Wright. She is accused and has been put on a pedestal of damnation because she spoke out against vaccines, or actually just agreed to a tweet or reposted a tweet. But we all know who she is. She is the brilliant Shuri, sister of King T'Challa, who was played by the late Chadwick Boseman. May God rest his soul. She was the definite pick to carry on the mantle of the Black Panther. That is, she was, all until she decided to speak out. Actually, not even speak out. Like I said, she merely tweeted or retweeted a controversial anti-vaccine video from Tommy Ariami. Now, Inverse.com, which was my favorite one to read thus far, who apparently assumes to know everything there is to know about vaccines, went on to say Ariami further pushed false theories that the vaccines were produced by Chinese pharmaceutical companies. Rampant anti-Chinese racism surged amongst COVID-19, while also making broad statements against climate change and transgender identities. Let's just throw that in there for kicks and shits and giggles, right? Now, taking time here to point out the rampant anti-Chinese racism, right? We personally live in America, and we heard nothing about Chinese racism other than the fact that COVID-19 having its origins linked to the Wuhan lab in China. But that's all. That's all. Now, Inverse.com, along with countless others, repeat the same narrative over and over. Right here. Well, maybe not the same narrative, but they start picking apart people. So Inverse.com, along with countless others, do the same narrative, while others like Gizmodo.com, which is here, take the opportunity to talk about Chris Pratt, who practices in a Christian faith, to point out how he specifically doesn't support a gay lifestyle. Right here, he doesn't support, or his church doesn't support, a gay lifestyle. Or how dare Gina Carano not conform, with something like who share their pronouns on Twitter bios. She's like, she's not against trans at all. She commented after also writing beep, bop, boop, has zero to do with mocking trans people and everything to do with exposing the bullying mentality of the mob that has taken over the voices of many genuine causes. All right, and her Twitter account also showed her liking posts disparaging the Black Lives Matter movement, spreading conspiracy theories relating to the 2020 election. So it's like anyone who speaks out or has a mind of their own, you're going down. You have to conform. Okay. But to carry on, um, it is not anyone's fault. It isn't hers, Gina Carano's, or anyone's fault for that matter. For any person who decides to identify as anything other than what they were born as. The mob media needs to stop with their gang-like narratives that mean to slander or objectify actors for having a brain of their own and thinking for themselves instead of what the world is telling them to think. Okay? Now, this particular one, if you scroll down here a little bit, it talks about Rosario Dawson. Okay, so it says rumors with Rosario Dawson may be appearing as a fan favorite character in this season of The Mandalorian have percolated for months, although Lucasfilm has not officially confirmed her participation. Nonetheless, some of the fans are troubled by Carano's actions have raised concerns about Dawson, citing a lawsuit filed against the actor last year by a longtime family friend who accused Dawson and her family of anti-trans discrimination. Now, we're going to jump over to this anti-trans discrimination. Okay, I don't know how many people have actually looked into this. It's probably a little bit of old news by now, but I'm just hopping on this thing. Scrolling down here, Finley, who now identifies as male, is 55 years old. So you're telling me they went through 55 years of life and finally decided, hey, this 55-year-old woman decided to be, hey, I'm now Dedrick Finley. That's my name. Respect my pronouns. Now, the only thing that I can think of, is that Rosario Dawson and her family moved this person from New York to their house. So they've known each other for a while. So my only guess is that this person heard a conversation or saw that Miss Dawson and her family didn't necessarily support that belief. Okay, they didn't support the fact that they should have to respect someone's view of themselves. Why force that on somebody? Like, it's not their fault, it's not our fault for someone to say, hey, I don't identify as that, I identify as a popsicle. So you're going to call me Mr. Popsicle, and if you don't call me Mr. Popsicle, well, then guess what? I guess I'm just going to melt. you know or my name is Mr. Puddin' Pop. you know I am a bowl of cereal. I identify as a bowl of cereal. you know Tricks are for kids. So anyway, back to this. People having a brain, thinking for themselves, you know, especially when some people's beliefs are based off of their religion, which I believe that's probably where, Miss Dawson is coming from. That's where Miss Carano is coming from. That's where Pratt is coming from. It's based off of their religion. And the last time I checked, I thought we had freedom of religion. Okay, they're not oppressing anybody. So when Wright tweeted, over here, I think it's over here, might be, nope, here. So when Wright tweeted, if you don't conform to popular opinions, but ask questions and think for yourself, you get canceled. Well, we also see that, no one is allowed to think for themselves, especially in the point of Gina Carano, where she posted her ideas and posted her opinions, but since it didn't go with the narrative that was going on at the time, well, you're just going to get canceled. But if anyone is smart, they're going to ask questions. They're going to do their research. They're going to be opinionated. They're not just going to follow. Okay, they're not going to follow blindly. You're not going to follow someone blindly off a cliff because they say it's the safest way to go. We for one will follow someone who has a brain of their own. Last time we checked, this was a free country with the right of free speech. Now going back to inverse.com here, just look at this stuff. We're stuck with Letitia right now. Okay, despite playing a character, scientifically gifted British actor Letitia Wright seems to agree with unscientific claims that seek to discredit COVID-19 vaccines. They just go on and on. It's like this person who wrote this must feel so proud about themselves. Let's see. But Wright, I bet they thought they were really clever here. But Wright's recent issues reveal the design flaw in Marvel's Death Star. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Star Wars, what they mean by that is the flaw. The Death Star was this major, killing machine. The Empire was so proud of it, and there was a flaw. This one little tiny thing just destroyed it. So they're saying that Shuri's Shuri having a brain, or Shuri having a voice of her own, is the Death Star. It just boom, blew up everything for them. Uh, People get so proud about their banter back and forth, but this cancel culture has to stop. I won't even get started on Nicki Minaj. In the future, I'm gonna find some. I'm gonna find some things that news media and people said positive things about these actors. I want to see how well they talk them up. I might have to really do some searching, but I want to see how they talk them up and praise them for stuff. But as soon as they go against the grain, that's when they throw you overboard. They're done with you. You're not gonna conform. Well, guess what? We're gonna control your life, and that's that. All right. Well, that's been my weekly rant. I hope to be able to do more of these. All right. Until then, continue to think for yourselves, continue to question everything, and never settle for what they hand you. Okay. I for one, will never, ever take something that they're forcing people to take. It should definitely be a right and a choice. It should be a choice of anyone's to take something or to not take something. It's my body, my choice, right? All right. Till next week.